Tyler's got top 5 oh damn moments of the week. Yo, what do we got, Tyler?
All right, guys, baseball is back. We didn't even have a full week, but still a lot of stuff happened. When I was typing out like what my top 5 was, I was just typing out things I was thinking of. I had like 12 on the list, so I really had to narrow this thing down to 5.
Have they changed in the last 3 days before I go?
A little bit. I mean, things are changing so quickly. This is a fucking weird, crazy season. I'm not going to add anything that happened today with the Dodgers Astros since we just talked about that, but that probably would have been in. But we'll skip that one for now. So coming in at number 5, Angels fans are going to love this one. Shohei Ohtani, roughed up in his 2020 season debut. This was his first start since September 2nd, 2018. The man, the myth, the legend, Showtime. Everyone's excited for him to come back and pitch for the first time in a year and a half. And he faces 6 batters. He gives up 3 singles. He walks 3. He gives up 5 runs. What a bitch. His fastball velocity was only 90.
Still better than you.
Duh. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I'm not on the field. Fastball velocity was at 92.9 compared to in 2018. It was 96.7. His high was 94. So obviously his velo was an issue. But that was like Shohei's a little bit rusty. You know, hopefully it's only the
definitely
first
rusty
season. James, I know you're a big Shohei guy. You traded for him to Alex in your fantasy baseball league. Like, what was going on in your head?
I hear about this all the time. Like, oh my god.
So you brought it up yourself, but you got to remember that he's coming off a Tommy John surgery. He hasn't pitched in a year and a half. Like, what did you expected him to get through like 3 or 4 innings? That's what I was expecting.
Him to get at least 1 out.
Yeah, I expected him to get an out.
Yeah. It's a tough day, man. It's like you can't be perfect. People have bad days, and his bad day happened to be on his first start. It's tough. It is what it is. I'm really hoping he's going to bounce back, but like just watching him right now and his batting, like he's terrible with batting too.
Yeah,
so I think he's an amazing slump all the way around.
With 3 Ks.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just hoping that something changes, something clicks, because right now I made a huge mistake in trading for him.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just getting back into the swing of things, boys.
Yeah, his average score on fantasy is -6.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
So his average is negative.
Hate to see it. All right.
I don't. I think it's funny as shit.
All right. Coming in at number 4, a couple of pitchers, some inspiring pitching moments. The first one, Daniel Bard. I don't know if you guys have heard this story. He's a pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. He pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings and got the win against the Texas Rangers. This was his first pitching appearance in the big league since 2013. So he was a first-round pick by the Red Sox in 2006. Made his big league debut in 2009. Really good pitcher, like upper 90s, could touch 100. Was pretty good for a few seasons, but around 2012 he started to lose it. He just got the yips. He just could not control any of his pitches, and then by the next season he was cut. And he tried to play for several Cubs up until 2017. Last season he was Arizona Diamondbacks mental skills coach. So he wasn't even playing baseball last season. And this season he decided to go for it one more time. He made the club with the Rockies. He came back and got the win in his first appearance in almost a decade. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And just a quote from him. The difference for me is going back to when I was struggling. You get that feeling, the butterflies, the adrenaline, the heart racing, and it would contribute to all the bad things. It would cause anxiety and basically take away my ability to focus. When your perspective is different, you lose all those feelings, and you're like, all right, it's game time. This is what I'm meant to do. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty amazing adjustment from a guy that completely lost his stuff. And I mean, never give up, right? I mean, this guy's pitching now in the big leagues and doing very well. So that's super awesome for Daniel Bard. I hope he keeps it going. The second pitcher with an amazing comeback story, Carlos Carrasco, who last season was battling leukemia, and he made his first start in 423 days on Sunday. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 5 hits, only 1 walk, and 10 punch outs, boys, in a 9-2 win over the Royals. So that was his first start since being diagnosed with cancer last season. So that's amazing to see a guy battle back from that, come back, and just absolutely dominate. And I mean, before he went down with the cancer issue, I mean, he was one of the best pitchers on that staff. And since then, they got these guys, Bieber and Clevenger back. If Carrasco can be back to his former self, that's a deadly 1-2-3 punch that the Indians have. Alex, you picked them to win that division. I think if Carrasco can pitch like he did on Sunday, that's a deadly rotation.
Yeah, dude, the Indians are nasty. Good for Carrasco. The Daniel Bard story is crazy too. Guys like Rick Ankiel and others, they have to reinvent themselves as position players. Majority of the guys that are pitchers that end up getting the yips, they never make it back. The fact that he was the mental skills coach and he had the yips, I think that's like the most ironic thing in the world.
Yeah.
And good. Yeah, that's a great story. We'll see how it goes when he has to pitch in Colorado. But great start for him. Carrasco, good on you. The Indians look nasty. It's a good story for those two guys for sure.
Nice. All right, coming in at number 3, MLB announced their new expanded postseason format. This is an interesting one. So this will just be for now for the 2020 season. So here's what has changed. So the top 2 teams from each division will make the postseason, plus the next 2 teams with the best record. So Eric, listen up because I know you're bad at math. That's 8 teams from each league, 16 total teams. So basically like, hockey and basketball, 16 teams seeded 1 through 8. Round 1 is going to be a best of 3 series. All 3 games are going to be played at the higher seeded team stadium. Round 2 will basically be like a regular division series, so a best of 5, and then from there it's like a LCS best of 7, World Series best of 7. So basically it's just expanding the amount of teams that are in. MLB has been talking about an expanded postseason for a while. I'm a little bit iffy on this particular way to do it. However, with this particular season and being short, I kind of understand it. However, I'm not really a fan of it going forward for long term at the moment. Alex, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm for this season, like, fuck it. Just let them do whatever they want. Try all these crazy things. The runner on second, we've already seen a bunch of games go into extras and then, they win it. Like the Royals won a game and they didn't even get a hit in extras, but they won. I think for this season, it's fine. If they want to look into it for future seasons, I'm okay with that. I'm not a huge fan of the 3-day or 3-game first round play-in because, for instance, like the Indians we were talking about, you want to face Bieber, Clevenger, and Carrasco in a 3-game series? That's nasty. If they do something like this in the future, I think they need to cut back on how many regular season games there are. That's just too many games. The 162 is already a lot, especially for the pitchers. So I'm okay with it for now. We'll see how it goes. I kind of liked this one we had before with the wild card teams. I loved that one game plan. I thought it made the incentive of winning your division just so much higher. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Traden, you were just nodding your head about shortening the season.
Yeah. Well, here, you guys better buckle up because this playoffs is going to happen. Is going to happen forever. Playoffs make money. That's where all these teams make the most money. And that if it works out this season and everybody kind of is like, okay, it works, it's not going away, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'm totally off base. No pun intended. But I mean, if it makes more money, they're gonna get them to the playoffs, get more teams to the playoffs. That's just my theory. And I could be, again, totally wrong, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Traden. All right, coming in at number 2, Mookie Betts signing a 12-year extension with the Dodgers. Oh, damn. 12 years, $365 million. This is the second largest in history behind Mike Trout. For me, this is the size and the number of the contract is surprising given the COVID impact on baseball right now. And the fact that Betts chose the Dodgers, with no real footing in Los Angeles. Only 6 weeks with his new teammates, with a quarantine in between those 6 weeks, and he did not even test the free agent market. Is pretty amazing to me. I think that speaks volume to how much he trusts the Dodgers, or the Dodgers team going long term. I mean, signing a contract. I mean, he could have easily just been like, all right, I'm going to try out the Dodgers for this 2 months. I'm going to be a free agent. I'm going to see what other teams have to offer, see if I can get better deals, see if I like other teams' plans. But he didn't even go that route. He was here. He was in LA. Just a quote from him he said, I love being here. I love everything about here. I'm here to win some rings. I mean, obviously, as a Dodger fan, I love this signing. I think if there's anyone you're going to give a 12-year, $365 million deal to, Mookie Betts, probably one of those, one of 3 guys that I would want to give that money to. So I was just so surprised with the timing of it. Alex, were you surprised by the timing of this, or what?
A little bit. I think a part of it is because of Corona. If it wasn't for that, he probably would have tested the free agent market. But with teams losing so much revenue with no fans, less games, he pretty much said, like, in his press conference, this is something I've been working for my entire life. With this money and, endorsements and commercials and all that other crap, he's set up for life. His grandchildren will be set up for life. As a Dodgers fan, yeah, other than Mike Trout, Mookie Betts is probably the most complete player in the game. So yeah, give him the money, especially with the way that the Dodgers financial situation is looking like in the future. But after 2023, they had literally zero money on the payroll until now, which is crazy with how good they've been, and they have like no long-term contracts. So yeah, if there's anyone to give it to, it's Mookie for sure. And now I think, for baseball, it's also got to be great. So for the next decade, we got Mike Trout and Mookie Betts both playing a huge market in Los Angeles. That's just got to be a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a great signing for the Dodgers. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully he's that missing ingredient the Dodgers need to win some rings. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, number 1, oh damn moment, probably the biggest one. 17 Marlins players and coaches test positive for COVID. This whole kind of came down the last couple of days. It's been an absolute shit show and firestorm going on with baseball right now. The Marlins all tested positive while they were in the road in Philadelphia. So the Marlins home series against the Orioles have been postponed. They've actually been all their games have been canceled until Monday. So pretty much a full week without playing. The Yankees and Phillies were postponed. The Yankees are now playing Baltimore instead of they were going to be playing Philly at home, I believe. So now they're going to be playing in Baltimore. So just crazy schedule changes. As of right now, I don't know, 9:10 p.m. on Tuesday, no Phillies players have tested positive for COVID. So that's good news. It's mostly just that the Marlins clubhouse, but this is pretty crazy. I mean, this is one of the kind of nightmare scenarios for baseball with playing a season with this whole pandemic going on. It brings up a lot of questions. I mean, does this put the season in jeopardy? Will these games be made up? If they're not made up, how are they going to, contribute to standings? Because, I mean, a team that's, one game out of that second place spot and should have played 3 more games, but because they were canceled because of, COVID stuff, how does that factor in? And then are more players going to opt out because of this? Because there's a lot of uneasy feelings about it. James, what's your thought when you saw all this COVID positive tests rolling from the Marlins?
I was scared because I don't want baseball to be canceled. I don't want any sports to be canceled right now. So whenever that news broke, I was definitely scared that, hey, they're going to cancel the season. It's going to be over. Are they going to suspend it? But then Rob Manfred comes out and is like, oh, I'm not afraid of this at all. We're testing all the procedures. This is probably good. This is probably a good thing. We'll see how good our systems actually are. And I mean, that different perspective changes everything. But that was yesterday, and more players got tested positive in the meantime. The biggest positive out of this is the fact that nobody else but the Marlins are really getting tested positive right now. That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one way that you brought up standings and playoff position, and if teams play less games, I think one way they can determine the seeding of it is by looking at winning percentage. Right. Just take their wins and losses. So I mean, like the games they played may not line up, but the percentage will be relative to that.
That's what they did in the NHL.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things they're talking about. I mean, there's a pretty realistic possibility that there's going to be a different amount of games played just because of all this COVID stuff going on. So if there is those, teams that are really close, it's going to be determined by winning percentage, like you said, James. But still, it's pretty crazy. So we're it doesn't seem like baseball's in a point to where it's going to shut down. But for me, I don't like the direction it was heading this morning. Watching the news on it kind of gave me flashbacks to when all of sports got shut down back in March, just kind of with these rising in COVID numbers. So hopefully they can contain it to just the Marlins clubhouse. Hopefully they got it under control. We're really going to see if these policies that MLB put in place have worked. They're obviously not doing the bubble like the NHL and the NBA are. I think realistically with baseball, that probably wouldn't have worked. So I think they kind of have to do it the way that they're doing it. So hopefully it all works out. So those are my top 5 damn moments. Just a few honorable mentions. Giancarlo Stanton opening up the 2020 season with an absolute boom shot was amazing. I forgot how amazing it is to watch the guy hit home runs. It's just incredible. Fulton Nevich of the Atlanta Braves was designated for assignment before the game even ended after his rough start the other day. So that's pretty crazy. He had a really rough season last year. He had one really bad start in Tampa Bay, and he gone, boys. He's no longer at Atlanta Brave. So that's pretty crazy. Also, both of my picks to win the wild card started out 1-3. So that's solid. The Reds and Diamondbacks 1-3. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyler. Hopefully the MLB is going to continue playing. I think I speak for all of us when I say that. So.